right, Smoke Nasty Barbecue, at home, easy smoked spare ribs. I'm gonna show you how we do it. No competition style, but this is what you're gonna end up with. Hey, thanks for visiting my channel. Hey, hit that button, subscribe, and we're gonna show you all kind of videos on barbecue and everything. Now that we got our ribs all washed up, cleaned up, we dried them off real good, we're gonna trim them. Now I'm gonna tell you something about these ribs. These are right now considered spare ribs. But once we trim them, we cut that breastbone off and we square them up and everything, they're gonna be considered St. Louis style ribs. So that's what we finna do right now. I'm even show you how to get that membrane off. If you're doing a bunch of ribs at one time, and we're only doing a couple, if you're doing a bunch of ribs, then nah, just score that membrane. It'll take too long to try to get that membrane off 10 slabs of ribs or 15 slabs of ribs. Right now, we only doing a couple, so that's what we're gonna do. But I'm gonna get these ribs trimmed up. I'm gonna show you how to do it. All right. So the first thing you wanna do is, this is your breastbone. So we're gonna come right up in here and cut that breastbone off, and then we're gonna come back down the side and trim it. So you find it's a soft cartilage right there. So you find it, and you take a short, nice, good knife, and you're gonna cut through it. Then to square them off, we're gonna start here and we're gonna go down. So you're gonna start here and you're gonna cut down all the way to the end. And this piece on the end right here, we want to, that'll just burn up on the grill. It won't cook right. So we're gonna find it right here. We're gonna cut it. And we square them up. Okay, so we're gonna catch the end of it and just gonna take a knife, gently cut down. And it's just a piece of skirt meat. Now, I'm gonna tell you something else. It's skirt meat, but it's meat. Same thing. We're gonna take it, put it to the side because it's getting smoked and it's going in our collard greens. We love a lot of meat in our collard greens. But this is considered your St. Louis style. So the easiest way to get this membrane off, and I say easy because it don't work every time, but this is the best way to do it, is to use a butter knife. We're gonna take this butter knife and we're gonna get up under between that bone as far as we can, and we're gonna pull it up. We're gonna get a little gap in between it. We're gonna try to take our finger, we're gonna use our butter knife and try to hold the rib down, and we're gonna try to pull it up. Sometimes it come up in whole pieces, sometimes it come up in partial pieces, but this is the best way to get it. And the pieces that we don't get, once we get up under it, we're gonna take a paper towel to get a good grip on it, and we'll try to get the rest of it off. So once we get it like that, we take a piece of paper towel, we try to grab it, because you gotta grip it with something. So, and the reason why I use a butter knife, because going up under it with a sharp knife seems like it makes sense, but honestly, if that knife slipped, somebody's gonna be taking a trip to the hospital. So use a butter knife, use paper towel for the grip, and hey, there you go. We got our membrane on, and we still got St. Louis style ribs. It's a little fatty right here, but you could trim that. But like I say, this at home barbecue. Once we lay these ribs down, bone side down, that fat is gonna render off, and you want a little fat in your ribs because that's what makes it tender. So next step, we're gonna put seasoning on it and we're gonna get it out on the smoker. All right, so we got our ribs all trimmed up. We got the breastbone off, we got the skirt meat off, we took the membrane off, so now it's time to season them. The most important thing is to make sure that your ribs are dry. I don't use binders, that's just me personally. In my experience, I didn't see where it made a really big difference. I just use the seasoning. And the seasoning that we're using today is some that me and my wife made up, and it's a little bit of everything. Got a lot of herbs, got a lot of savory in it, but at the same time, it has a little sweet to it, for barbecue. So any seasoning that you want to use, you can use. I mean, they're all good, but this is the one I like, the one I make up. So this is what we're gonna put on our ribs. So we're gonna season it real good. And when I season the bottom, I don't get too heavy on the bottom, because on the bottom is where most of your heat will hit. And a lot of times on the bottom is where your seasoning will fall off. So I don't put a lot. I put enough just for it to stick. But the top side is where the seasoning actually stays. You know, it's not gonna roll off. So I get a little heavy on the top. And I can smell the seasoning already, so I know it's gonna be real good on these ribs. And you notice the redness of it, the paprika, that's what gives you that good color on your ribs. And don't worry, I have more seasoning. I'm just, I put it in this so y'all can see for video purposes. But if you notice, I'm going a little bit heavy on the top of my ribs, because this is what's going to actually sit on the ribs and actually keep the flavor as it's smoking slow. All right, and there you have it. These ribs are ready to go on the grill, but we're gonna let these ribs sit and hang out for about 15 minutes, because that's how long it's gonna take me to get my smoker going and get the wood burning. And today we're gonna be using pecan wood, but I'll tell you all about that outside at the smoker. I'm using my trusty torch. I love this thing. Smoke Nasty Barbecue, we do not use charcoal. I mean charcoal fluid. I'm sorry, we use charcoal, but not charcoal fluid. I don't want my meat tasting like charcoal. So, hey, I get that wood lit, I get my charcoal lit, and that's how we run it. Straight smoke, we don't let it smoke too much. We get a little light smoke, and that's why I love pecan wood. So, we finna get it started. If you don't have one of these torches, you're missing out. I mean, this thing works fine. And I can cut it up as high as I want. And this is how I like it. It's not gonna take too long. A few minutes. Once it gets to burning, I'm gonna let it burn. And I'm gonna let the temperature on the grill get to that 250, and then we're gonna bring the meat on.
Get it, but just snaps and videos.
Cooking. All right, so now we got our grill at 250 on the dot. All right, you see the light smoke coming out the chimney stack. We got our pecan wood going. I'm about to go ahead and get these ribs and get them on this grill, because I'm hungry. And it's gonna take a while, because you gotta smoke them just right at a slow temperature. So we're gonna get the ribs and put them on. All right, so I got my ribs. My seasoning is set in. That's the whole point of letting your ribs hang out for a few minutes. You see how that seasoning got down in them ribs and it brought that moisture out? I mean, these gonna be some good ribs. That is a pretty color. You see the seasoning on it. But now we're gonna get these ribs on the grill. We're still riding at 250. You got a good smoke, not too heavy, but a light smoke. And you're gonna lay them just like this always. But one of the things that I like to do is bunch them up. And I got it right under my thermometer. I don't want to put the ribs over here. This is the hot side. We smoke it at the temperature we want, so it's from here on over. I got them in here. I got them bunched up a little bit, because the way you put them in here is the way they're gonna cook, and that's how I want them to cook. I mean, we're gonna close that lid down. We're not gonna open it. We're gonna at least let them cook for about an hour. We're gonna come back and we gotta spritz them, because we don't want them to dry out. I don't really use water pans, but I do use apple cider vinegar and a little water, and every now and then I spritz them just to keep them moist. They're gonna be on here a while. Hey, you know the secret. If you're looking, you ain't cooking. Okay, so these have been on here for a while, a little bit over an hour. I haven't looked at them, I haven't peeked at them, I just kept that temperature at 250. So now we finna open it up, and we finna put a little spritz on it. Half apple cider vinegar and a little water. Here we go. You see that? I mean, they got the pretty color to it. They are cooking. A little bit of the bone is showing. So I'm gonna spritz it just to get them just right. Just to keep some moisture in them. And you see what I was talking about? The meat we have on the side. Hey, that's going that's going in our collard greens. That's going in the collard greens. That's our smoked meat. We do our own smoked meat. So it's gonna be perfect. This is our ribs. We spritzing them. So we can keep them moist, because like I said, I don't use a water pan. I just I'd rather spritz them. Hey, we're gonna close it back down. It still got a little while to go. Now we're gonna start spritzing them maybe every 30 minutes. We're gonna keep them cooking.
Okay.
Okay, so we finished smoking our ribs. Look at the color. This is the color we wanted. I mean, that mahogany, pretty color is seasoned. It got plenty of smoke in it. So now we're in the process of finishing them off. The way I do it, I put a little brown sugar, a little butter. We're gonna put the ribs meat side down, and then we're finna wrap them. Foil paper, wrap them tight, and we're gonna get it back on the grill for about another hour. We're gonna check it. Hey, we're gonna have some good ribs. So now that the ribs has been taken out of the foil paper, I brought them back inside. Look at them. I mean, look at the color. Look at the bone. That's one sure way that you know that the ribs are pretty much done. They're tender. When that bone starts sticking out, you see the ribs start to pull back. But we're not done yet. We're gonna glaze them with a light coat of barbecue sauce. It's my barbecue sauce that I like to mix up. Hey, like I've been saying, you can use whatever you want, but I'm just using my stuff, just at home barbecue. So I'm gonna glaze them up with the barbecue sauce, and we're gonna get them back on the smoker for about 15-20 minutes just to make sure that the sauce sticks on it, make it tacky and sticky for some good ribs. All right, folks, they are done. They finished, and just look at them. Look at that right there. These are the ribs, easy ribs that you can do at home. You don't need no special smoker. You don't need no competition cuts. These are regular at home, backyard smoked ribs. And we finna cut them. They've been sitting for a while. They cool down. So we're gonna flip them over, and we're gonna start the cutting. Look how easy they cut. You can tell that these ribs are so tender. So we finna pick one out, and we're gonna do a taste test. First, let me show you though. You see that smoke ring? That's what you want your ribs to look like. That is perfect at home backyard ribs. We finna take a taste. That is what I'm talking about. I hate to talk with my mouth full, but easy to pull away from the bone. You taste the smoke in it. You taste all the seasoning in it. This is what you need to do on your own at home. This is good. And I'm going to say it again like I said in every video. Yes, indeed.